The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests my Go Squad. Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast Live. This is episode number 286. Today's date is Tuesday. What is it? April 4th, 2023. We are live as always on YouTube. So if you're out there in the live chat, say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do say something. If you want to text in the show, yes, you can text in the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends Rod and Shelly Gates over at Aegis Gun Care. That number is scrolling down below. It is 530-36. Is it 530? I think it's 530-364-4678. Make sure that your questions and all that. Do me a favor. If you do text in, leave who you are. So I know that who everybody is. Sometimes I don't have these numbers saved in there, so I don't know who they are, so I can read them out and all that. Anyways, go ahead and text those in. If you are a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness looking for that light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you medical advice, but I could probably be a pretty decent ear and talk you through some stuff. If you are looking for someone to get you some medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this fight. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline. 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. We are spotlighting, as always, the United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And we are proud members of the Self-Defense Radio Network and the Rapid Fire Radio Network. Go check out all of your favorite pro-gun, pro-TUI podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and rapidfireradio.us. Let me get this off of my ugly mug and bring in, we had a couple more people jump in, so let's bring them in as well and say hello. From Anderson Manufacturing, our good buddy and fellow jarhead. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, my man?
Hey, Trey. How's it going? Thanks for having me on. Good.
We're going to talk to you in a second. You guys announced something pretty badass yesterday, so I want to talk to you about that here in a minute. But yeah, thanks for coming in. From Oklahoma, he is the Okie from Chelsea, and more importantly, he's got the pup with him. So we got the Gun Snob. What's up, homie?
Yo.
How's puppy doing?
Good.
And from Arizona, the soulless ginger bastard himself. What's up, John?
What's up, everybody?
Sounds like you're just leaving work or something.
Yeah, I just hopped in the car right now. So
what do you work so late? It's like 7 o'clock. Why aren't you home?
Well, in Arizona, it's 5 o'clock. So that's what it is. He can't hear us right now. He's got the wind blowing in his soulless ginger hair. So it is what it is. And from the great state of Texas, always riding shotgun with us, the tactical leprechaun himself. What's up, Clove?
Yo, man.
How you?
I'm here.
There you go. You got a shotgun of the week for us?
Man, Mossberg is making a 28 gauge semi-auto now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What length is that going to be? 24, probably?
28.
28. Okay.
Maybe.
So kind of like a goose gun, huh? As far as the length?
In 28 gauge? No. I mean, in order to get into
small goose.
No, for goose, man, you're going to get out to like 30s and 32s and stuff like that. 36.
See, I don't know shit about shotguns, so there you go.
Yeah, it would be more of a turkey. It would be more of a turkey gun. In fact, I think that's what they call it. The
called the turkey.
SA
Gobbler. They should
Mossberg
call the
SA
Gobbler.
Churchill.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, except for that would infringe on Gerson, but yeah, or Churchill.
Oh, well, either. Yeah, well, yeah.
One of the two. I don't remember if it was the Churchill or the Gerson. That's the Gobbler, but yeah,
I didn't know they had one called the Gobbler.
they do.
Oh,
And
well.
and shame on EAA for not pushing them to make that in a 28. But what are you gonna do?
You never know it. You never know it. Yeah. Bring in Kyle for a second. We're going to talk a little Anderson real quick before we move on. You guys announced something. I saw a picture. Was it last week? You sent it to me. You guys had an announcement yesterday with a new Cerakoting project on the old AR. Is it on the AM-15, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir. It's the AM-15.
And it is called the A Palms. And it is a beautiful, I don't know, like for me, when I saw it the first time, I thought Miami Vice. It's just gorgeous. It is a gorgeous thing. You guys need to go check that out over on their Instagram and all of that stuff. It's there. It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. It gives off Miami Vice vibes. And, we partnered up with Grit City on it. And definitely, go check it out. AndersonManufacturing.com/Cerakote if you want to go straight to the landing page. Real good stuff. Sorry about the video. I'm having some technical difficulties on my end here, but
hey, you know what?
Audio.
Great, and let's be honest. The audio is really what counts. We all have faces for radio, so let's just be honest.
Amen.
Yeah. MC out there says, "Dang it, Clover! Now I need a 28 Mossberg. I have an over under 28 gauge is dove and pheasant."
You're welcome.
So you just spent some more of his money, obviously.
Yeah, I'm good at that.
That AR would go perfectly with some of my shirts.
It would. Like when I first saw it, I was like, "You're gonna have to get one there, Snobby." Because now, what could break the matrix? What could break the matrix is Snob taking a picture. I'm assuming Kyle, you guys are gonna have the palms there at NRAM. Snob taking a picture in the palms with his shirts in the booth. That might break the matrix. I'm just saying.
It will be an MRAM, and Snob, you got to do it.
I will wear my retro rifle shirts to NRAM. So
yes,
I'm down.
It'll be a range day too. I don't know if you'll be a range day, but it'll be a range day.
The primary arms.
I'll be driving in that day. I'll be driving
to
in.
that. I haven't 100% decided, but I registered. I assume I'm going to go.
Awesome, man. See you there.
Ghost,
yeah, we're gonna miss you.
Get there. I know, man. I'll be driving in that day, and I'll be getting there that afternoon. But I'll miss the primary arms range day. But yeah, that'll be. I'm glad they're doing a range day. Finally, it's kind of not really with it, but it's part of the package and part of the program now. So that's something that needed to happen a long time ago. So I am happy they're doing that for sure. Thanks to Primary Arms for doing that, actually. So yeah, but you guys know that every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday we have our Ghost Tactical Polls over in our YouTube community tab, and those are presented this week by Anderson Manufacturing. Just happen to have Kyle on there. Kyle, I'm kind of thinking about calling the pony polls. What do you guys think about that? The pony polls. Would that be kind of cool?
I think that sounds legit. That's awesome.
That's legit. The pony polls presented by Anderson Manufacturing. Guys, go. Everyone's familiar with Anderson. Whether you want to believe it or not, everyone's either shot or probably owns something that's Anderson, whether you know it or not. Not just Anderson brand stuff, but Anderson's been making a lot of stuff for a lot of companies for a long time. Everyone knows about the lowers. They know about the AM-15. The Kiger came out last year, the 9mm handgun. So they've got some bolt action. They've got a lot of cool stuff coming down the line at Anderson. Go check them out over there. But like I said, the pony polls. We'll go with the first one. And I want to hear you guys' comments out there in the chat as well. This one was sent yesterday, got 1.5 thousand votes. Of these, what's the best 90s movie? Of these, Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, Goodfellas, Shawshank Redemption, or other? Kyle, let's go with you first. Of those 90s movies, which one do you like the most?
Goodfellas. Goodfellas was my choice on that one. And you've got some iconic movies in there, so it was real tough.
It is tough, and honestly, it's one of those. This is one of the closest kind of polls where usually there's a runaway, in most of these polls, but this one, having the fact that they were all pretty iconic movies and well-known movies in their own right, this one was a pretty close one. Snob, what about you? Of those, do you have one that's your favorite?
Well, they're all great, but
They are. Yes, they are.
of those, I would probably pick Forrest Gump.
Okay. There's really, like you said, there's not a wrong answer. There's really not. Clover, of those, we kind of talked a little bit about this on the Ghost and Clover. But do you have a favorite of those?
Which ones were on the list?
You've got Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, Goodfellas, or Shawshank.
That's tough, ain't it?
It is a good one.
It's tough, ain't it? Man, probably Forrest Gump. Yeah, I maybe out of those, Forrest Gump. Yeah.
Ginger, you were even alive in the 90s, but if you were alive in the 90s, which one would you pick?
First off, I was alive in the 90s. And second off,
Well, you were like 1 or 2 years old. Yeah.
okay. Well, am I a clown? Do I amuse you? It's got to be Goodfellas. There's no other. This is probably one of the best mobster movies that have ever existed, next to the Bronx Tales. It's just they're both iconic, and that is probably the best out of the two, next to Casino as well.
Casino was a good one too. Absolutely, Casino was good. Like you said, you can't really go wrong with any of these. They're all great, and they're all great in their own right. They're a little bit different genres, if you will. But it is what it is. Let's see here. 1.5 thousand votes. 35% say Forrest Gump. 25% say Goodfellas. 21% say Shawshank. Excuse me. 17% say Pulp Fiction, and 2% say Other. So a pretty close poll there. We move to the second one. 80s rock bands. We're kind of going like kind of hair bands, but mostly like 80s rock bands. Of these four, which do you prefer? The choices are Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, or Van Halen. Clover, will start with you. Of those four, which one do you prefer?
Killing me, man.
I only ask the tough questions here.
Probably Guns N' Roses.
Okay. Yep. Snob.
Sorry, I was on a different tab. And pour some sugar. Def Leppard.
Okay. All right. Like I say, you can't go wrong with any of these.
Well, they're all good.
Ginger. Yeah, they're all good. They're all good. Ginger.
I'm gonna say Motley Crue.
Okay. All right. Little girls, little Tommy Lee action there. He likes Tommy Lee. Kyle will bring you in here. Of those iconic 80s rock bands, do you have a preference?
Telling you, John and I are starting to link up. I'm a Motley Crue guy myself. That's actually the first cassette I ever owned. Motley
Really?
Crue. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Did we just become best friends?
I think so.
Now, Dr. Feelgood or which cassette was it with Motley?
It was Dr. Feelgood.
If you're gonna go with a Motley, first cassette, Dr. Feelgood was as good as it got for me.
Yes, sir.
I love it. I probably would go Guns N' Roses just because I'm a huge GNR fan.
What's the best Guns N' Roses song?
My favorite Guns N' Roses song, or the best one? I mean,
Your favorite. We'll go your favorite.
My favorite. Oh, probably Civil War or Yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
Patience.
I love Patience. I do love me some Patience. Yesterday's is there's something about the way that Yesterday's kicks off, and it's just kind of got a little acoustic vibe, and then it just goes. And I love Yesterday's. And Civil War is a great one too. I mean, honestly, let's be honest. There's probably not too many bad
No.
songs that GNR put out. That's just me.
I mean, really,
my
any of these
wife-
bands, there's not really too many bad songs.
Now, see, here's the thing about Van Halen. Now, here's where I'm going to have to get a little sticky on this. I'm a big Van Halen fan. I am not a big Van Hagar fan. I was never a big Sammy Hagar fan. They had a couple good songs with Sammy, but I was never a big Hagar fan. I was much more of a, Diamond Dave fan, Say what you want about David Lee Roth, but he was good. I was never a big Def Leppard fan. I like I said, I like some of their songs, but I was never a huge I like early Def Leppard. What was that? The album came out, the early album that had like.
So you like two-arm Def Leppard, then?
Huh?
I said, so you prefer?
I like two-arm. I like two-arm Def Leppard. Yes, I'm not a big one-arm Def Leppard. Pour some sugar on me. I'm a two-arm drummer guy. But yeah, like Hysteria, I think was the album. Hysteria was a good album. That was a good album for sure.
That was the Pour Some Sugar on Me album.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it? Okay, what was the one in the 80s that like Photograph? Was that Paranoia or something like that?
Pyromania or High and
Pyromania. Yeah, I think Pyromania was like with Photograph and all that. That was a good album. That's the one that I like. It was definitely the two-arm drummer album for sure.
Rock of Ages, yeah.
Yeah, that one had 1.7 thousand votes. 44% say GNR. 44% were correct. 24% said Van Halen. 18% said Motley Crue, and 15% said Def Leppard. So yeah.
I just need to address a comment real quick.
Which one is it? I'll put it on the screen.
Chicago Mike's Journey one. Because
Journey's pretty damn good.
No, because Journey is the worst band of all time, and they can just burn.
Don't make me kick you out of here.
I absolutely despise Journey with a passion. Right there with Rush. Journey and Rush.
I can't stand Rush. I don't like Rush. I'm an anti-Rush guy. But Journey, really? Like Journey wasn't the greatest band, but like Steve Perry has one of the best voices ever, especially for rock stars.
I can't stand Journey.
Did you not like his voice, or you didn't like the band, or what do you not like about Journey?
I don't know what I hate about them. I just hate Journey. I hate all their songs. I don't know. I think it's because one of my ex stepmoms down through time loved Journey, and I couldn't stand her. So
a lot of Journey sounds the same.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all
I'm not
knocking
Journey. I like Journey. I'm not knocking on it, but I can sort of see how it could turn people off because it's kind of a similar sound. It's more of a mellow rock.
Worst band is Cinderella. I disagree.
Cinderella.
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Now, favorite Cinderella song?
Don't know what you got till it's gone. Hands down.
Oh, really?
Down. Oh, I love that song, man. But that song has kind of like sentimental value to me back in the day. So
yeah.
Now Woods is bashing Poison.
I mean, like Slaughter. Slaughter is a terrible band, but Fly to the Angels is a great song. But I can't stand Slaughter. Like, never did like them. Yeah. Like Skid Row, loves Sebastian Bach's voice. Worst band of that era. They had one phenomenal song, but everything else of theirs just was crap. Firehouse, remember them?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Probably don't, because they were terrible. They had one song that was pretty good.
Love of a Lifetime.
That is Love of a Lifetime. Great song, and everything else was bad. Really bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of hair bands, a lot to come in. Remember Winger?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I remember Winger, yeah.
Jacob doesn't know who Cinderella is.
Huh?
Jacob doesn't know who Cinderella is.
Do yourself a favor. Go Google it later or whatever.
Google Cinderella.
Shelter. Don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yep. Fantastic.
Shelter Me. Coming Home.
Coming Home.
Oh, I forgot about
Coming Home's amazing.
Coming Home is a great one. Yeah.
Nobody's Fool.
Everybody's feels good. I would say
all
Coming
great
Home. Maybe second. I forgot about that. That's a
Coming
great
Home's
one.
my favorite, I think.
Still
Yeah.
not as good as Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone.
I can
Home is a close second, probably.
remember.
Gypsy Road. Oh, Gypsy Road was a great one too. Hell, good call, Rich. Yeah, great call.
Yeah. I can remember back when Coming Home, when that come out, right?
The video.
There was obviously a video, but I made my own video, which was weird. I dubbed.
Of course you did.
Took VHS tapes and I dubbed like Superman walking in the snow and all that kind of. And it was a pretty neat video. I wish I could find that one day. That I used clips from movies.
I wish you would too. I so wish you would.
It was pretty neat.
Please.
It's all VHS, horrible quality, but
you gotta find that.
It
was probably in the barn, Snob. It was probably in the barn.
It probably was. It probably was. But it was just movie clips is all it was that I used. But it was like that was way back before YouTube and everything else. So that was pretty cool back in the day. It's like, look, I made my own video. Like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, MC says no votes for Rat. I don't even know. Like, honest to God, I have totally forgotten. I don't know any Rat songs. That might be one of the worst bands. I don't know any of their songs, and I hadn't heard about them until that Progressive or whatever commercial, that insurance commercial. I was not a. Nope.
Round and Round.
I mean, I might know some songs if I heard them, but I don't know that they were Rat. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah.
What's the one?
I mean, what about ZZ Top? Are they 80s? Considered 80s?
No, they were more 70s band. Now their biggest album, Accelerator, was in the 80s, but they were back in the early 70s, bro. Like ZZ Top.
And they weren't a hair band, they were a beard band. Come on.
No, they were a blues band. That's true. They were a beard band, yeah. Technically that's a hair band. It's just different parts.
I don't know. I'm kind of upset.
Texas Blues.
Bashing Aquanet.
Exactly. The funny thing is,
I would totally use some.
So the funny thing about ZZ Top is Billy Gibbons and Dusty Hill had the beards. The only one that didn't have a beard was a drummer. His name was Frank Beard. Go figure. Just saying.
You already had the beard.
ZZ Top, man, they're great. Great.
Calvert stole Flockus. So here's the thing about Flock of Seagulls.
They had a song. And it wasn't very good.
And they, the lead singer, and I can't think of his name now, but I've seen an interview with them. And at some point, they started refusing to play Iran. And
that's the only song they had.
But they were so sick, or he was so sick of it. And he was really
he had
an attitude in the video toward it. Well, how many bands do you know that? I mean, they lean into it, like they don't mind playing their most popular stuff over and over.
When you're talking about if you are literally a one-hit wonder and that one song made you a millionaire, I'd play the hell out of that thing. I'm just saying.
And they just got the lead singer anyways, got a real attitude over it. It's like, that's a great song. I don't know why you're.
You should have had an attitude over a hairdo. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Our last poll. 1.8 thousand votes for long range shooting. And I really call long range shooting like at least 300, but typically like over 500 yards. Right. So for long range shooting, which do you prefer, bolt action or an AR style, gas rifle? Ginger, we'll start with you for long range shooting, bolt or gas.
I got to go bolt gun. There's just something about long range shooting and bolt guns that just go together.
Yeah, absolutely. Clover.
Oh yeah, bolt without a doubt.
I knew you were going to say that, but I had to ask you. Even the chats, it's going to be probably unanimous out there. Snob, bolt or gas?
Handgun.
Okay, very well.
Nice.
Altor.
Nice.
You're going Altor?
Yeah,
Altor, baby. The Altor with the 32-inch barrel, man.
The 500 yard shot of the Altor, that would be amazing.
I'd have better luck at throwing it and hitting the target at 500.
It'd be really easy to put a longer barrel on that, wouldn't it?
This might be kind of awkward to hold.
Yeah.
Better do it before the
It
break.
probably still was a Hobby Lobby for you.
Yeah. Bolt gun.
Clover could probably print one for you eventually if he ever gets his 3D printer
He's
set
gonna
up.
print me a new grip for it. I'm waiting on it.
Well, you can turn that into a rifle. You realize that, right? You
Well,
could
yeah,
turn that
you put
into
a
the
barrel
Altor
on it,
rifle.
You can put a
You
barrel
need
and
a
a stock
stock and a longer barrel, and you've got a Altor rifle there. So why not?
Let me text Ethan and see if he'll make me a barrel for it.
Okay, moving on. Kyle, bolt or gas?
Javelin.
Okay.
No, bolt action.
I understand. I understand. Because you guys have both now. You've got the AR-10s and you've got bolts coming down the line. So it's not like you were having to pick between like, oh, I gotta, but
yeah, I could pick unbiased now. No, but definitely bolt action.
I thought you meant he had javelins now. I was going to get me a poverty javelin.
Oh, yeah, you would have to.
Wouldn't you though? Like that'd have to be on like the Christmas wish list for sure.
I'm gonna pitch that to the engineers.
Rich said Snob's gonna have the first Altor PCC, and he's gonna have it, and Altor won't even know it exists.
Does Altor even still exist?
Oh, I don't know. Do they? They might not. I don't know. I'll just be honest. They sold a shit ton of those Altors there for a while. When they had them on for like $89 or whatever, they were selling a ton of them. I don't know. 1.8 thousand votes. 72% say bolt action and 28% say AR-10. There's a part of me that I don't have an AR-10. That's one thing that's missing from my arsenal. And I really would love to go and get me a 308 in an AR, because PRS has a division specifically for gas 308s that they're only competing against them because they're going to be so behind in open competitions. They created their own little division with a gas 308. And I think it'd be fun as hell to shoot in this. I'm actually compete in that because there was only like maybe 4 or 5 shooters in that one. I guaranteed myself like the top 5. That'd be awesome. No, but I think that'd be fun. I think it'd be fun to have a 6.5 Creed in that. So I may be sharing ammo with my bolt as well. I don't know, but I think a cool little 308 AR-10, I think would be a fun thing to have, just to have. So, you never know, but yeah, bolt action, as far as if you're going to try to do anything special, bolt action is probably the way to go. And I think pretty much everybody out there has said that. Now, Honcho says Snob is 85% gas, and that is also true. So now Book out there said lever. So let me bring in you FUD boys. Lever action at 500 yards, yay or nay?
Nope.
I mean, they have the long ranger in 6.5.
Okay, but most like levers, you're talking what, 1 to 300 yards maximum, probably.
200 is what I'd put a 30.
200, okay.
To be reliably accurate.
Depending on, you'd have to get an optic on it most likely, and then or at least target sights of some sort, rear peak, front globe, and then as far as the action lockup, pretty solid as far as the action goes with accuracy on a lever action. From there, it's just going to be a caliber thing.
You can also hand load your bullets if it's like a 30-30 and only put 2 in there and put a pointed bullet in, and
that's true.
That way.
Yeah.
Just don't do that and load the tube.
Yeah, but there's quite a few different calibers now with and that's the whole put a pointy bullet in the tube. That is, I don't know. If you're careful with what you're doing,
don't drop it.
And you're talking about a some type of a soft point or ballistic tip, like it's not going to be that big of a deal. Pointy FMJs would be problematic.
Yeah, putting a boat to a hollow point in there might be a problem.
Yeah.
If anybody out there is around Honcho or has his number, please go check on him. He might have had a little minor stroke. He says an auto semi lever action bolt on a threaded receiver suppressor, Cougar Falcon Thunderbird. There you have it, folks. That's what he wants.
Does he smell toast? Is that what's happening right now?
Like I said, he might need some help. So if anyone's around Honcho, he might have. Rich White said pointy bullets are for the Henry Long Ranger. So, Quigley, what was Quigley's?
4590.
4590.
Yeah. Or 4590 or 45-110.
I thought it was a 45-1 something. Yeah.
Okay.
Look it up.
Pretty sweet. I went to go see John Wick 4 over the weekend, or last week actually. Great movie. First of all, I'm not going to give anything away on it, but I'm going to say two things. One of them is one of the coolest modded lever actions. It's a modded Marlin 1894. I think they said it was a Marlin 1894 modded up. I can't remember who'd modded it up, but it's badass, tactical Marlin now. And the other thing I'm going to say is two words: Dragon's Breath. So if you haven't seen John Wick 4, Dragon's Breath, that should tell you something. So, yeah. Once again, what's in here? 1874 Sharps 45-110 is Quigley's. There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clover. 1874 Sharps 45-110. There you go. Jacob says he was able to sit and crawl around in a Sherman tank over the weekend. That's pretty cool. I remember when Eagle runs out there. Hello. The Sherman tank was a marvel at the time. And now, I mean, it's like paper mache almost. But back in the day, man, that was a marvel. That was a cool thing. Sherman tanks are pretty badass. So those are the pony polls. The pony polls presented by our good friends at Anderson Manufacturing. Go check out AndersonManufacturing.com. Check out all the AM-15s. Check out the A-Palms that are there. The Kiger 9s are out there. And they've got a bunch of cool stuff coming out. Kyle, do you want to say anything else about what's coming up, or can you talk about anything else that's coming up anytime soon?
Well, as we know, the bolt action coming soon. Right now, the big thing is the Cerakote. They're only running for this month. Next month will be a new one. We're going to do a Cerakote of the month. Limited editions, though, they'll never come back. So definitely check them out. I love the fact that you're going to have one every month, a different design. So that's just kind of cool. Now, do you have X amount that are made, or you just take in the orders and you'll get them made however many you sell? Yeah, so it's pre-order only. Production will begin May 1. So you're looking at getting it in May if you order it this month. What I'm saying is you're not just making like 250 of them. If you sell 1,000, you'll make 1,000 of the palms, right? That's correct. Yeah, unlimited quantity on this. Nice. And then next month you'll have a different design. Are you going to go the rest of the year, or is this going to just be for a limited amount of time, or what? We're going to run it through the year, and then we'll see how it goes and possibly carry it into next year. No, I think it's a great idea. I do. I think it's a great idea because eventually someone's going to – you might not like the Miami Vice look, but wait till next month, and it might be something –
Clover's waiting on the Pines look the Pines one to come out.
He's waiting for the Lucky Charms look. He's really. I'm waiting for the crayon look. So I know, Kyle, you're jarhead with me, bro. You got to help us out with getting a crayon Cerakote. Yeah. We're talking to Crayola right now. Seeing how it goes.
I just want a shotgun, man. Want a shotgun.
An Anderson shotgun. Is that ever going to happen?
Last quarter 23. Come on, man. Come on, shotgun.
In all seriousness, have y'all is a shotgun ever been discussed at Anderson? To be honest with you, the owners are huge shotgun guys. I would say, snap.
There you go.
I would say that it's probably been talked about a time or two.
Well, we got to do better than that. Shoot me their phone number in the private chat, and I'll give them a call.
I'm on it.
Got to get on that, man. Or 22. I would take a 22.
It's 1-800 up yours. That's their phone number.
Up yours, Joe Boo.
If you don't make a side by side and call it the Pony Express, I'll be really upset.
I'm just saying.
John,
you heard it on this podcast first.
And the Pony Express,
people. Awesome. The Coach Gun and the Pony Express, you would sell a shit ton of those.
Man. Just make sure you put removable
Kyle,
chokes in it,
you're getting ready to
please.
be a hero to the owners if you take that idea to them tomorrow. I'm just saying.
Double
want
ear,
1%.
double trigger with removable chokes.
Oh man, John. Yeah, John. I'll have to hook you up on the back end, man. That's nice.
You heard it here first, right here.
I'm
So
just
2
concerned
years
that
from
Kyle's
now,
making
when
a
the
John
Pony
in the
Express
back
comes
end.
out, hey, Kyle's gonna hook John up in the back end for sure. Oh wait, that's something. Never mind. That's more of a cat and couch thing.
Pitter pat.
Oh man, 2 years from now, we're all gonna be hanging around having a drink somewhere in like the Pony Express. I remember the night.
Shot show.
That's a game changer,
2025.
bro. That's a game changer. The Pony Express. Oh my God, that's beautiful, John. Well done. I don't give you much credit very often, but that's a pretty good one, bro.
You know, I am in marketing, so I have a good idea every once in a while.
But are you? I thought you were more SEO. Too soon? Too soon?
Too soon.
All right.
Well, he certainly doesn't work trade shows. We know that.
That's fair.
I will be at NRAM. My flight is booked. It's officially enough.
And you've got a place to stay. So
awesome.
I'll talk to you after about that. I forgot to call you today.
Oh well, I mean, you've got a place, but you may not need it. But you've got a place. We'll talk afterwards. So we just require a couple sexual favors, but that's not a big deal, not a problem. You know, we will talk about that later. Kind of about the technology and all that. We're talking about the future of firearms tonight, and kind of a cool little topic because, you know, here's the thing. People complained for years and years and years. There was really no innovation in firearms. You had the polymer era, and then now it's like, it's funny, but now everyone's kind of going back to the classic designs, the 1911s, the high points, and some other great guns that came out years and years and years and years ago. They're kind of going back to that style. They're going back to like steel frames instead of the polymer frames, and I mean, there's obviously still the polymer stuff out there, but you know, it's weird the kind of the flow that it's going these days. And kind of talk to you guys real quick about like the technology that could be coming down the line, or what's the next, like when the polymer stuff came out in the 80s and all of that, it was like game changing. Oh man, this is awesome. And then people start hating on it, and then they're going back to the steel frames and all of that. Bring up Kyle, because your guys are working on stuff for 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, probably without giving the farm away. Am I roboting?
Nope, not from me.
Okay,
No.
it was probably just my internet. That's the reason I asked you.
Okay. All right, good. Kyle, without giving the farm away and all that, I mean, like, there are things that y'all have probably discussed or have heard other companies thinking about doing, but like technology wise, like where do you see firearms 5 years from now? Do you think it's going to be going back retro redesigns of classic designs, or like what's the next, is like titanium, or like what's the next cool thing you think's coming down the line for the future of firearms as far as technology wise?
Gosh, that's such a tough call. I feel like right now we're kind of sitting in the era of recycling everything, like you were talking about.
Yep.
The retro ideas, things like that. I think the next big thing's definitely coming. The next big thing that I see present is the optics, and gosh, the technology that goes into those. Some of these optics, you don't even have to like know how to do dope or anything like that. Like you're fine. You just pick it up and go at it. So to say what technology is going to bring to firearms in the future, that's such a tough call, because I also feel like technology and firearms themselves really don't tend to jive too often, if you know what I mean.
No, that's an interesting idea there. You know, you might have technology and different materials being used for different things. But yeah, I mean, design wise of firearms, and you guys all in the panel, just jump in. This is an open discussion. But I don't know, the design of firearms has been basically the same for hundreds of years. There's, technology and maybe some of the materials being used, but ultimately,
till propellant and projectiles, till the cartridge, the ammunition, until something changes with that, I don't think you're going to see just a whole lot, because everything has to be built around that cartridge, right? And if we're still using smokeless powder, has been the greatest advancement, and that come out in the late 1800s. And I mean, there hasn't been really a huge leap in. I don't even know how you word that, right? You can use several things. You can say cartridge, projectiles, whatever it might be, but until that change, I mean, what are we talking about? Are we going to go leather or lasers? Is things going to go air? Is it going to go
electromagnetic?
Magnetic.
Have a blaster. I mean, I'm all for the blasters. So get out there and get it going, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you say that, and I agree with you about that. But also, 40 years ago, was anybody thinking about polymer framed pistols, or however many years ago? Really? I mean, that was a huge advancement when polymer became good enough to build a gun out of.
Yeah.
And then,
absolutely.
So there's going to be a big change in the future, sometime pretty shortly, I think, because right now we're just in making what we have better.
If you didn't have, with conventional ammunition, if you didn't have the pressures to contend with, what all could you do from an engineering standpoint with firearms, right? Now you're basically, at this point, you're basically controlling an explosion. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're held back with being able to control the pressure. So once you figure that out, then you open up the gates to technology. That's a good point. You got to figure out how to control the explosion, as you said, which is a great way of putting it. It's what it is.
I think, like Clover said, though, there's not going to be any giant advancements until then. But even the 365 was a major advancement whenever it came out, truthfully.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, it is a triple stack next. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I think for me, I don't see a design wave of technology and changes. I think what you're going to see are and kind of what you guys are bringing up with like red dots and optics, but like accessories. I think there's going to be more creative ways to adapt accessories to them. I think, and we joke about with Clover a little bit, but I think, and it may not be with frames and lowers and all of that, depending on what happens, but 3D printing, I think could change the game for accessories. There might be something that's going to replace M-Lock or Picatinny down. I mean, we don't know, but having the ability to have 3D printing and being able to basically customize your firearms however you want it to by being able to print basically whatever mount or whatever little gadget that you want to do, that could change a lot as well. I think 3D printing is going to this is a completely aside from
it already has
the Polymer 80s. Yeah.
Look at the titanium suppressors that are 3D printed.
Right. And this is aside from the Polymer 80 side. This is just literally mounts or accessories that you can do that you had to wait for someone to come up with. Now you can literally do it yourself. And I think that what would you call it? I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe at-home gunsmithing or personal gunsmithing is going to be a thing where people can do people that get involved with reloading, probably be kind of cool to do some 3D printing with different things. There's all sorts of stuff. I think that's where the future of the technology side is going to be for the time being until other things, because I don't really know what there is to do with designs at this point. Now, G-Web's out there says the future is 8mm. It's a millimeter less because all the 9mm shooter muscles get weaker as they shoot, so they will need to step down eventually. I will agree with that. the 8mm is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Did you just copyright me, dude? I didn't even hear what it said. What was that?
He probably answered the phone and muted up, didn't he?
Oh, I don't know what that was. I thought he was playing me a song or something. But yeah, obviously, G is making fun of the 9mm. Sure, that's okay. I think that Snob brought up the 365. Someone brought up a polymer framed handgun 40 years ago, 10 years ago. Who would have thought that there'd be PCCs that are 5-inch barrel 9mm PCCs and all that? It's stuff like that. I don't think there's going to be big technology, but I think what they're going to do is they're going to. It's kind of like phones, when the iPhone first came out and all of that, and then it came out, and then a few years they try to make them as small as they could, and now they want them to get them as big as they can. I think a lot of it's going to be a lot of that to where they might start making some stuff smaller and then going back up. We know that EAA, our friends at EAA with the MC14T, that's a really cool innovation that's going to be, it's released. It's going to be shown publicly at NRAM, but that's a cool innovation. I think that's what it's going to take. We're not going to redesign or redefine or remake the wheel here, but coming up with maybe some cool different ways to make that firearm do the same thing it has, just make it a little bit different. I think that's what we're looking at right now.
Well, the problem with that is, like, you've seen companies like Taurus think outside of the box, and every time somebody thinks outside of the box, except for like the 365, they just get torched. And yes, the curve was ridiculous and dumb, but still, the companies that are trying to think outside of the box and go, hey, this is what we can do, are worried that they'll think too far outside of the box, and then they've got production and cost into those products, and they don't sell. And you saw it with the curve, and you saw it with a couple other weird designs. I think that's the issue. Yeah, the Spectrum.
Well, go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
And that's what I mean. Like the Spectrum, it was outside the box thinking of putting the rubber in certain places, but people just are not accepting of change. And I do see that we're kind of changing that in the industry. Like there's a lot of more acceptance, but at the same time, people are just worried they're going to invest millions of dollars into designing a product just for it to tank.
No, that's fair. I'm going to throw a company out there because they get shit on quite a bit. But we have a lot to think with them, and it sounds crazy. But Kel-Tec, okay? Kel-Tec makes a lot of crappy stuff, but talk about a company that has historically been willing to take chances on weird designs, and they might just be 5 or 10 years too early that people aren't ready to accept them. The sub 2000, there's several products that Kel-Tec has come out with over the years that were not very good at the time, but you look at the designs and they're like, oh man, now that would be cool to have. I know that they're kind of maybe sometimes ahead of the curve, but Kel-Tec has been one of those companies historically that, for 20 plus years that has been willing to push the limits on being innovative and creative, and they might get shit on because they might make bad products. But as far as pushing that envelope and crossing that line sometimes of pushing people to do different things, Kel-Tec has been, whether or not they make quality stuff is to be seen. But I'll say that Kel-Tec, I think, is one of the most important companies we have because they are pushing other companies to do things they may not be comfortable doing yet.
Well,
what do you guys feel about Kel-Tec?
Well, Kel-Tec's a great example. Kel-Tec came out with the P365 15 years before SIG did.
Yep. And it just wasn't, the people weren't ready for it.
Yeah, they weren't ready for it. They came out with the sub 2000, and then Smith did it. And then they came out with the KSG, and then Smith did it. I think, like I said, I think there's the trend now is that people are more open to where 10 years ago, if you came out with a new design or just think outside of the box, you just got thrown under the bus and people would make fun of you. And that's Caltech. I think if they could produce as much as, as cool as their stuff is,
like I said, I mean, they've had some really cool designs that are more coveted 10 years later than they were when they first came out. But I do, once again, I've got to give a lot of respect to Caltech because they're a company that really, I don't know how to put this, but they pride themselves on pushing the envelope a little bit. And we need companies like that. Like you said, every design they come out with, people might not have been ready for them, but look at the companies like the Smiths of the world and the SIGs of the world that take those designs and make them better, 10, 15 years later, and people love them. Well, you're going to have to give a little bit of nod to Caltech for even coming up with the idea. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's companies like Caltech that we need in the industry because they are kind of telling people, hey, 10 years from now, this might be a pretty decent idea. So you must be home by now. You're home now, aren't you?
Yeah, I just got home.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I got two soulless ginger bastards. That's not good.
You know what? You know what I think the future of guns is going to be, and it's going to be so great. I'm going to sing hallelujah whenever it happens. They're going to settle on the RMR footprint for full size and RMSC for compact size pistol optics. That's going to be the only two footprints, and all the others can just burn.
There's a part of me. I'm not an optic guy on pistols. Everyone knows that. I've got a couple now that I'm trying to get used to. I do understand the frustration that optic pistol shooters have why aren't they? I mean, that's a good question. Why aren't they kind of get standards and say, hey, this is the mount that we're going to have? I mean, I don't understand that. Why
do you want the real answer? And the answer is because, you'll look at, so a few years ago, Rock Island came out with their metal frame Glock, the STK 100. They went with a Vortex footprint. Why did they go with a Vortex footprint? RMR standard. Well, because Vortex, the owner of Vortex and the owner of Rock Island are best friends. And that's really what it is. Sometimes it's because people are friends with each other and they want to help each other out. So they're going to launch the gun in this new footprint. And there's deals on the back end that many people don't know that they're buying bulks of these optics to put on the guns.
Except for Vortex pistol optics are absolute garbage.
Well,
rifle scopes are fine. Their pistol optics are trash.
I plead the fifth on that one. But yeah, it's really, there's a lot, and Kyle can probably knows the same thing. There's a lot of back end dealing when it comes to the firearms industry so that people can partner up because you're friends with a lot of these guys and you want to they're going to cut me a deal on this optic so I can put it onto this. It's the same thing with like Smith and the Crimson Trace. It's the same idea, even though they're owned by the same parent company. We're going to partner with this because we can sell this package.
I get that, and a lot of that. I just wish that there was this industry standard, whether it's for. I mean, you look across the board for rifle optics, whether dots or scopes or whatever. There seems to be this Picatinny rail standard out there, right? That is going to fit on a rail and all that. I don't understand. So let me ask you this. Do you think that maybe down the line, there is a thing where you have a little 1-inch Picatinny on handguns to be a standard mount? I mean, is that something that you could see down the line of happening?
First.
But what I'm saying is will it come back? Is that something they can come back and say, why don't we at least do this?
I don't think so, for the reason that there's just so many pistol optics out there, and then having to find the mounting system to do just a standard Picatinny on it and redesign some of your stuff to fit that.
Well, I understand that Picatinny is going to look terrible on a lot of these handguns. I get that, and I understand that's probably why it doesn't happen. But I do see what you're saying. Being a guy that doesn't really care about optics on pistols, I don't have a dog in this fight. But I do understand the frustration from handgun optic users that say, like, this is crap, you know?
I think
because even if you use a basic RMR base, like not all RMR plates are cut the same, and even if it's supposed to be an RMR, it doesn't fit. So I mean, it is what it is.
I think what we'll see next for pistol optic, for the mounting of pistol optics, you're going to see it on different guns. So like Mossberg came out with their shotgun with the pistol optic cut in it already. You're going to see a lot of that, and you're going to see more companies going to the design of replacing the rear sight with the mounting plate like they used to do, but now they figured it out so that
I don't even give you the rear sight. It's going to be an optic gun, or maybe give you the rear sights in the box. If you want to install them, you can, but they don't come with them on. Is that what you're saying?
There's that, or they're making a piece that actually, so say you bought a standard gun, they're making the piece to come in that just goes into that rear sight cut.
So you take the sight out, that's how it attaches.
Yeah,
instead of having the optic cut, it connects through where the rear sights would be.
Yeah, and that's why you'll see a lot of companies now not even launching guns without optics cuts, but there's still a generation of shooters that live and die by iron sights and don't like the optics. And I do think that you should learn with irons before you go to optics.
I'm that guy. I'm not against optics, but I understand the value of having an optics. I'm just that guy that doesn't like it's weird to me. Does that make sense? Like I can get used to it. I've got a couple of them now with optics, and I'm getting used to them. And there's obviously the older I get, I'm 2 years away from being 50. So eventually my eyesight will not be 20/20. That could be a plus for picking up that dot. Sure. For me though, how does this make sense? I like to think that I have good mechanics shooting. I'm a pretty good shot. But I use my buddy's pistols, or now a couple of mine that have them on there, and I just go and present. And now I find myself looking for that dot. And is this a lower third co-witness? Is it an absolute co-witness? What is this? Where I pick up a gun, I just want to be able to put the front sight on and go. Obviously, I can get used to that and speed up everything else and all that. But for me, it's going to be a learning curve to have an optic.
Well, optics are a learning curve for everyone. I mean, that's just the plain hard truth.
Yeah.
If it's not, you haven't spent enough time with it because.
Oh, I have it. I mean,
I'm just saying. These people that say, "Oh, you just pick it up." No, you don't. Because at first you will be looking for the dot until you realize you stay target focused and just find the dot will just appear on your target. You never look for the dot. That's the trick.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing also is I will say this. I think that having a dot on your pistol for someone who may be a newer shooter might be awesome for no other reason. It's going to force you to present the same way every time, or you're going to be searching for that dot. So it will, if you're doing some dry fire with a dot, or whatever, even on the range, presenting the same way every time so that dot's there quickly can only help good mechanics. That being said, for me, it's like an old dog learning new tricks. I'm not against it. It's just going to take me some time.
Can you highlight Jacob S.'s comment real quick?
Which one?
Don't become dependent on optic. Okay. And he's not wrong. I mean, say that. You don't want to become dependent on it, but at the same time, if you're presenting the same way every time, if the optic does fail, just like you said, you're presenting the same way. You're basically point shooting at that point.
Well, let's be honest. I think for me, and I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. For me, anything inside probably 10 yards, I'm probably point shooting anyways. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. But there's no telling how many rounds I've put through to where my muscle memory and my mechanics are sound enough. Once again, I'm not going to be putting bullets in the same hole, but I'm talking about hitting a torso and ending a threat. I should be able to, at 30 feet, point and shoot and hit a torso without really picking up any dots or sights. Now, I'm not saying that people should go out and do that. and I don't really practice that a whole lot, but I feel confident enough in my mechanics and my abilities over years to be able to at 10 yards point if my optic goes out or something happens to my iron sights, whatever happens, I should be able to point and shoot and at least hit a target, a silhouette, and end a threat. Am I going to be a precision shooter at that point? No. What's up?
Your go-to-war rifle. Do you have an optic on it?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What's the difference? Explain to me. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm being serious. What's the difference?
No, I understand that. No. I know, and it's a valid question. It's a valid question. The difference is I've been shooting dots on rifles for a lot of years, and I don't have that experience yet with pistols. Like I said, it's a learning curve for me. And you're 100% right. It literally comes down to experience and just doing it.
But now that was,
I've got a couple now with dots on there, and I'm forcing myself to do that. And I actually had Hilux had sent me. I asked Tony over at Hilux to send me a pistol dot, and he sent me one a few months ago, and I really haven't had time because of the rain. But I can put that on some guns that I have that have mounting plates on there. So I'll now have 3 available guns to work with with optics on them. So excuse me, for me, it's just like you said, getting out there, getting used to it and all of that. I'm not a person for change. I'm stubborn. I'm not going to lie. I probably represent most people that are 48 years old,
No, but everybody, that's the big argument is everybody says, well, I wouldn't put that on my, my go-to-war gun or my carry gun or whatever. But then they have their AR with a red dot sitting on top of it. It's like, really,
I would have no problem carrying. No, I get it. I would have no problem carrying a gun with an optic once I'm comfortable with it. Once I'm used to it and I'm confident with whatever handgun I go with an optic. I would have no problem having that with my carry gun. I'm not there yet. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily just talking to you. I'm just saying.
Oh, I know that. No, I know that. Yeah. It was a rhetorical question for sure. Calaveras, Clover, what do you think about developing a gyrotech ammo concept with rocket-propelled slugs? I don't know if he's serious or not. Yeah.
It's already been tried.
I really got a rash just by saying those words. So, Clover.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I was talking. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, I think you muted yourself on accident. I was like, yeah, you muted yourself like mid sentence. So,
yeah. Gyrojet is already a thing, or has already been a thing. So.
Yeah, they've been talking about that in the chat. Maybe started the concept started a little after World War II. Maybe is that what they said? Does that sound about right?
Something like that.
I don't know too bad, but I was just kind of reading the chat, and
I'm not versed. I'm not
talking about. So
yeah, I'm not versed or steeped in the history. I just know that it is a thing. It has existed.
It happened after World War II. They were trying it for Vietnam. The ammunition was just too expensive to produce. It wasn't very reliable. It's a neat concept that you're basically making a rocket propelled projectile that spins, self-stabilizes and spins. But even now, I don't think the technology is there. And even if it is there, the expense of the ammo, you're seeing it now with like 224 Valkyrie and 6mm arc and 8.6 Blackout. There's not going to be enough production to justify it in ammo side to go. Hey,
even the 38 Super, there's really still to this day, there's not enough manufacturers jumping on to push that demand as much as it can. Now, are they talking about? He said rocket-propelled slugs. What you're talking about, John, sounds like they were more rifle cartridges.
They were handgun.
Early designs were handgun.
Yeah. It was a handgun cartridge.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter. You're still talking about basically gunpowder propellant. You're still talking about some type of an explosive charge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
now
like that's not a leap forward. I mean, that would be like saying, oh, solid copper projectiles are a leap forward. The only reason solid copper projectiles are that much of a thing is the machining process is just so freaking easy nowadays.
Yeah. I remember, and they never made it to the field, but I remember, I'm sure I could talk about this. It's been 25 years, and I don't see why. They'll cut me off, obviously, if I talk about something I shouldn't be talking about. But I don't think there's something I can't talk about. I remember back in '96, maybe '97, early '97. Don't remember. As I was back at Pendleton, so it's probably early '97, and or I don't remember, late '96, early '97. They had ice projectiles for our long guns, and the idea was inside. I don't remember if it was like 600 yards or 500 yards. The idea is going with the sniper rifles and Kyle, I don't know if you were in after I was, and can I get your take on this, and if you guys ever saw this or not, but we had, they was like, 500 or 600 yards inside, they used ice projectiles. And the idea was there'd be no way to identify what projectile was used and all of that. It would literally do its thing and then melt. So there was no footprint, if you will, of where the projectile came from. I don't know. Obviously, nothing ever happened to them that I know of. We never really saw them after we tested them for a little bit. I don't think anything ever happened. Kyle, do you remember seeing any of those? I know you were more on the explosive sides of the Marine Corps, but you guys did probably have some designated marksmen that were with you guys, some snipers that were around you guys. Did you ever see any of them using any ice projectiles at all?
I did not, but that sounds badass.
Yeah, they came in like how do I explain it? It'd be like a small ammo can that was like the dry ice or whatever to keep them cold, and they were you just pull them out, you put them in, you shoot them, and like I said, they were good at about, they said 500 or 600 yards, but the good thing is the footprint of that projectile in a war situation, you would never be able to identify where that projectile was, like who it made it or where it was from. There'd be no anything. It would just be gone. So, and like I said, I never saw it much after 97. So I'm assuming that it didn't work.
Well, with advancements in frangible technology, it starts to make that, like, you've got a lot of logistics with an ice projectile, with like keeping it cold and a lot of different things. With your frangibles, probably with your frangibles, you get the same thing. I mean, it's really hard to.
And it's probably what happened is that's probably where the frangibles kind of start taking over. Where they said, okay, they probably had 4 or 5 different 10,000 ideas. Which one's going to work the best? The frangible idea is a much more consistent projectile probably than the ice one was. But it was just interesting. I remember that because I was like, we got to shoot. I probably shot maybe like 7 or 8 of them total, and it was kind of cool. And you're out there in the desert of California and you're shooting ice projectiles. But like I said, I never saw them after 97, so obviously they weren't a thing, or they might be something that Sock's using or something. I don't know, but I don't know. It's interesting. But the frangible projectiles now. I mean, like I remember SHOT Show 2020, right before the cough. We went over to ITAC, I think, out there, and to the military kind of the range day on Monday, and I was shooting some frangible stuff from literally 2 feet away. I'm getting steel. Now your mind tells you this is awkward, like I'm shooting 2 feet away. But it did. I mean, the frangible stuff is pretty awesome. And I think that maybe in the civilian world, it'd be cool, but I don't think there's as many applications maybe for a SWAT, but like the civilian world, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to be able to shoot steel at my range from 2 feet away if I wanted to. Obviously, for like the SWAT stuff, obviously the military and CQB, especially running some 9mm frangible and CQB and some PCCs or something in room clearing. I think that frangible technology is something that I think is probably a must at this point. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Rich says ice projectiles have been tried with different weapons for a long time. One was actually the basis for the old B&W Charlie Chan movie in which the killer used one. I have no idea. Tactical Fud Buck says Hollywood brought all the ice bullets for the movies. That makes sense. I mean, it's kind of a cool idea. G Webbs, I think your drink was warm and you were very far from the bar. The bartender sniper could get you back with an ice cool. You know, it is kind of cool. If I was 500 yards away, I could call my sniper and say, hey, I need an ice cube for my drink, and he could send one down range. That would be kind of cool. You know, the guys that we had one guy, I'll call him Ben. He was amazing. I don't know where that dude is anymore. I know where he used to live, but I never could find him. He never got on Facebook or any social media. I still to this day, every now and then I'll search for him out there, and he's a ghost out there. He's not on any social media, but that dude's the best shot I ever saw. So he was amazing. Technology, you know, I don't know if it was Snob or Kyle, whoever brought up optics. And I know Snob was talking about more for handguns, but whoever brought up earlier the way that red dots and scopes and the technology going into optics, they are able to do some amazing things that, you know, I respect Holosun. I like Holosun. I'm not a Holosun fanboy, but what they're able to do with the night vision and all that stuff for a price that's a manageable price for the everyday person. I think the technology and optics across the board are going to be something in the next few years. I know that Clover's a big fan of thermal. Do you see, Clover, the way that technology, that there could be a thermal scope that could be like a quality thermal under $1,000 anytime soon?
I think as technology advances, yeah, I think absolutely could be. I mean, that's been the hurdle with night vision and thermal for a very, very long time, is just the cost of the materials and the technology and getting everything made. So, yeah.
This is open to anybody. Marcus brings up, I'd like to see LED iron sights. I'm not going to lie. That's an awesome idea. I'm all for that. Like if you give me a red or a green dot, I prefer probably a red LED as a front sight. Like I like running a red fiber optic on my handguns. But if you gave me like a red LED, because red's going to be one of those that's not going to show up. You're not going to be able to see it far away. Now, obviously, the red dawn scenario doesn't probably happen, but something happens. I don't want to be able to see this big ass bright LED at the front of my rifle. But if it's a small red or maybe an amber LED to replace the front sight, kind of like you would put like a fiber optic, but it's an LED light. Actually, I think that's pretty badass. I haven't thought about that. What do you guys think about LED front sights?
It'd be dope, but how would you power it? Like that's going to be the big issue, is powering it, putting a power source to it.
Well, I mean, there's so many cool ass red dots these days that have solar. Why couldn't you just make the top of the LED front post a solar panel?
I don't think there's enough. There's not enough panel there to get it to chart. That's just what I'm thinking. There's not enough panel there.
No,
I mean,
that's
it'd be dope.
Point.
But the thing is,
some form of battery.
Yeah, and how
could you not like maybe the battery thing, like for your weapons light? You know, you have the push button or something. You know, the pressure pad for a light or something that has a wire. Could you not run on like a side rail, a battery that plugs into the back of that LED? I'm just saying they'd have to figure that out. But I'm thinking that's a pretty cool. Or like G3, solar panels on the slide, or in a rifle, solar panels on the handguard, somehow that are integrated into that LED. I don't know, but I think the LED front sight needs to happen. The more I think about it, that would be badass.
I would, if you did a corded system where you have a cord running, there's two things that I worry about. Flopping in front of the barrel and being shot in half, and B, it accidentally getting caught up in the slide during fire.
Now you're talking handguns at this point.
Yeah, if I'm talking handguns,
Okay.
if it's
I don't know if I'd want it on a handgun. I'm thinking more ARs. I'd love to have one on like a carbine length handguard rifle that's not going to be close to the muzzle. So, I mean, I think that would be or an A2 type style. I don't know. That'd be badass.
A rifle they could make it happen on, because you could take like an A2 style, and instead of it being hollow on the inside, it could be a solid piece.
That could be the battery pack or something.
Have a battery housing, and they could make it happen on a rifle.
Yeah.
How would
then you've got to worry about
heat.
What's that, John? Hold on. What'd you say, John?
How would that battery hold up to heat if it's right there on an A2? That front post gets pretty hot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fair question. And people much smarter than us will have to figure that out. Kyle,
you shoot ice bullets out of it, it cools it as you shoot.
But the front post gets hot primarily because the gas is going through it.
The gas
is
is
a big part of that. So if you had a front, because I've got an H2 style post on a rifle that is not holding the hand guards, and it is not the gas block or anything else. So I mean,
it's a standalone sight, basically.
Yeah, all of that is underneath the hand guards. I put longer hand guards on it, right? So I basically modified a stock front sight and then put it in front of all of that stuff. So I mean, it could be done where it's just attached to the barrel. My concern would be to be able to get the brightness right. You've got an LED shining back into your face. Like, has anybody ever looked into an LED? Like, how do you get the brightness right on that? You know what I mean?
I think it's just like you would in a red dot. You got to give them probably 5. I wouldn't go 10, but I'd say maybe 3 to 5 brightness settings, and I'd go as low as I could. I'd probably go to 1.
And all that's wonderful. And in that front sight post, like you're talking about, there may be enough room for all of those electronics. But when you start talking about being able to manipulate the brightness, that all requires electronics, so it takes up space. So not only are you looking at the battery issue, but now you've got all these other controller issues you've got to contend with.
Maybe the answer, and I'm spending like Anderson's money. I want Anderson to come up with this. Kyle, get those engineers on this shit, man. But I think just brainstorming, but you just made it 1 brightness. Like maybe in the scale of a 5 setting, you make it a 2, right? It's bright enough for maybe daytime shooting, and it's still not too bright for nighttime shooting or whatever. And just this is the setting. If you don't like this brightness, or maybe you make them in different, like this one's a 1, this one's a 2, this one's a 3, and you have to buy whatever brightness setting you want. But it's gonna be a static, solid brightness. It's not gonna be able to changeable.
To be fair though, this already exists.
To be fair.
Tritium. I mean,
right.
Well, you're right. You're talking night sights and to a certain extent, but the LED I think is just kind of cool. Like
here, I'm gonna poo-poo on this idea just because I can. NYPD used to hold their flashlights above their head. That LED, depending on how bright it is, it might front light you and backlight you. So if you're in a dark situation, now you're a target. You're lit up.
So
that's why I said it needs to be like a red, because red does not show up very bright in darkness. Like when we were in the Corps, and Kyle probably remembers our old flashlights, we had to wear at night. We had to carry red lenses.
So here's the thing with color. Color is irrelevant. We don't even have to worry about color if we're going LED, because we can use a multicolor LED.
There you go.
So I can get one that dances between red, green, and blue.
You can do whatever the hell you could be get a disco ball if you wanted to.
Right. Yeah. Like legit. Yeah.
Now the chat out there is talking. They got some great ideas. They're talking about more handguns, but their idea about the solar panels on the entire slide for a handgun. Now that's something. If you put solar panel, the whole slide being a solar panel, you'd have to figure out the technology and how to get that ported to the LED front sight. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
For those of you who have shot a hollow sun on the solar panel in a dark range or in an indoor range, you know very quickly how low light and solar panels do not agree with each other. I'm sorry.
On the flip side, you are 100% correct. On the flip side of that, in a dark room setting, you don't want a bright front. You don't want a bright light either. You want it to be very, very dull, because in the darkness, a bright light takes up way too much real estate in that optic. For me, at least.
But if that's the power source, right, that's powering that LED.
No, right.
If there's no light, there's no LED.
Well, you would almost have to have a battery, some type of battery as a mediator. Very rarely do you see things run straight off of solar.
And it might be one of those things where you just have to, to the LED, it might have to be on a handgun that has an accessory rail on the bottom, and you might not be able to run your light on that one. You might have to attach the power supply, the battery, to that accessory rail down below somehow. I don't know. There's got to be something.
I'm just sticking with my tritium.
No. I just thought it was I just saw Marcus put it out there, and I think it's an intriguing idea. It's obviously probably years away from being, if someone was to work on it now, it's years away from being mastered. But that is kind of a cool idea to start thinking. Jesus, they use D cells. That's true. Do they still make D batteries?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clover, do you have some laying around?
I do.
Okay, I need to bring.
What do you need?
We need you to bring 4 of them to NRAM.
4 D batteries to Indy.
Really?
For the boom box.
Okay.
He just gave it away, so now I might have show Clover.
Damn it, Daniel.
You got an old school.
He got him old school
USB
boom box.
has an SD card slot.
What?
Yeah.
But it takes D cells?
That's what I said. I said, how can they make all this and not put
it's Bluetooth SD slot that runs on D batteries.
Well, that's Amazon Vine for you.
It has a power cord too, though, if that helps.
You have to carry that on your shoulder around NRAM.
Oh, Clover is 100%.
That's what it's there for. That's what it's there for. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So make that happen.
Killing me. Expect me to do that? You want me to bring my own batteries? Like, really?
Yeah, those things are expensive, I imagine.
They ain't cheap. Yeah,
I'll stop at the Dollar General and get some dollars.
I honestly didn't know they still made them. I had no idea that. I hadn't seen D batteries for a long time.
Yeah, I've got a mag light that uses these cells, and then I've got I've got some camping lights or whatever, lanterns that use D cell.
I'm pretty sure the light on my phone is brighter than that mag light.
Promise you,
with brand new batteries. With brand new batteries, I don't know.
All I'm hearing is that Clover loves the D cells.
Yeah, well,
he's not denying it, is he?
He's gonna get those batteries out of his nightstand drawer. That's what's scary.
It's like,
Armithia, I need some D batteries.
I wasn't going there. I said it was his, not Armithia's. Good Lord.
Yeah, okay.
Roy Munson says, I've got a Streamlight lantern that uses D batteries. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, well, Clover still has the lantern that you strap on your head and you wear the battery on your waist pack, the big 6-volt.
Oh my God, the big 6-volt thing. I do have a couple of 6-volt flashlights. I really do. They're those box style with the big lens on the front.
Oh, yeah.
Got the button that literally when you turn it on and off, it goes click click. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my!
Do you remember the lanterns though, Clover, that you wore on your head and you wore the battery pack on your face?
Oh yeah.
When I was a kid and we coon hunted, that's what we had.
Yep.
All right, I wanted to pose a question to the room because we're talking about the future of firearms.
Okay.
So you guys know, like, John Moses Browning and his designs and Eugene Stoner and his designs.
Who are they?
You know nobody in the modern era with their designs, except probably George Kelgren. That's probably the only one. And Glock, but
Gaston, yeah.
But there's nobody in there's not a guy coming up with hundreds of innovative designs anymore. That's the other thing. Like John Moses Browning made hundreds of innovations throughout his life.
Okay, well let's look at this though. The time that John Moses Browning or Colt or whoever was doing a lot of that stuff, right? You did not have the industrial technology, meaning you did not have, it was not as easy to start up companies. And that's the case now where you've got a lot of companies.
Have 800 gun companies. Yeah.
Yeah. And those companies all have in-house engineers. And so there may be one guy that's come up with 100 different things, but you'll never freaking know it because the company that said guy worked for is the one that holds all those patents and all those things. I mean, they basically paid him to come up with that stuff, and they may get a royalty. I don't know how all that necessarily works. Maybe Kyle's got some insight to some of that, but
that's why because I know when I was at Faxon, it was designed by committee. You know, there was except for the AREC because Bob came up with that. But anyways, it was designed by committee. It was literally we would sit down and we'd all look at the drawings and we'd pick what we'd like and didn't like and moved on to the next step and prototyping and that. So there's really not many that you look at Browning and he started off with lever, and by the time he died, he had the Modus. Like he went from this to this quickly. Well, and there was a lot of industrial revolution at the time, but you don't see that now. You don't see I don't know any of the you could say Glock and Colger and the guy from Keltec, but there's really not many in between, really. Those are the two names.
I think that there has been a lot of great designs, but I think you're right as far as an individual. I think at this point, every company has, like you said, a team of designers that are building and design these firearms instead of John Moses Browning sketching on a piece of paper and making that come to life. I think that you're probably right. There is probably a handful or a couple handful of people that are legit designers that do it by themselves. I think that at this point, these companies are paying so much money for R&D that it's got to be done with a team so that, I don't know. Now G's throwing Maxwell Atchison and Ronnie Barrett. There are people out there. I don't think that we're saying that there's nobody out there. Elmer Keff. Yeah. I don't think John's saying there's nobody out there, but there's definitely not anyone, like you said, it's got hundreds of designs like Browning and all of that. Certainly there's not people that are making designs that are as game changing as a 1911 or a high power,
Well, I mean, he brought up some Elmer Keith. And Elmer was very into he did the 45 Colt as hot as you could get till we have 44 mag. It's the same, or the 44 special, same thing. But he was more, from my understanding, he's more of a ammo designer than a gun designer, and they kind of designed the gun around the ammo.
Yeah, cartridge,
and then and Ronnie Barrett, he did, he's got there's a name,
obviously.
But when you think of it,
how many of those were his 100% his designs? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not a historian, so I'm talking out of my ass here.
But it's the same thing. You look at the guys we know from history who we can go, okay, the Colt did that and Colt innovated this, and you've got the Smith and Wesson, and you've got those guys, but the newer companies that pop up, there's no designer who's handed out hundreds of designs.
Let's just take Snob. Let's take the SIG P365. Now it's based off of maybe what was a Keltec design or whatever. Do you know the Keltec designer, or you just know it's a Keltec design? Let's just take it as a SIG. It's a SIG P365. 100 years from now, people aren't going to talk about the person who designed it for SIG. They say that's a SIG design. I think maybe back then it was individuals getting credit for these designs, where now it's companies getting credit for the designs. Maybe that's because there's a team of people designing instead of just one person. But 100 years from now, people are still going to know who John Moses Browning, did the 1911. How many people are going to know the name of who designed the P365? I don't even know who it is now, much less 100 years from now. So I don't know. Real quick, super chat. Thank you, G23. He says, John Moses Browning intended the 1911s to not have grip safeties and not in 9mm. 40 Smith & Wesson is king. 40 for life. The men and women who are downrange. I have to Ron Burgundy it. I will Ron Burgundy. Whatever you say, I will say it, including 40 Smith & Wesson is king. 40 for life. I have to say it. Obviously, we do not ask for, nor do we encourage super chats. We do appreciate them. They all go to sending care packages to our men and women downrange. So thank you very much.
If you're going to say 40 for life and 40 Smith & Wesson is king, you damn well better super chat it to say that. Just saying.
Oh, that's the only way that it will be said on my channel is if it's super chatted. You will never hear me mention 40 Smith for any other reason unless it is super chatted. So, G-Web said Keltec is one person, George Kelgren. Well, that kind of proves my point. I didn't know that. Like, I know what is a Keltec design. I didn't know that there was one person. I know that who designed a 1911. I know who designed the high power. I know who designed XYZ back then. I don't know who designs any of these guns. I just know the companies these days. So I don't know. Maybe that's something to be thinking about.
And you can think about it this way. If Glock wasn't the quote unquote, which he wasn't, the first person to come out with a polymer gun, would we
He's the first one that made it an actual.
He's the first person that marketed it well.
Right.
Marketed it and made it relevant. Yes.
Yeah. Would we know his name? Or it'd just be like just now, like the MMP line and all those? It's just another polymer gun in a line of polymer guns. Just really what it is.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing that's what I'm saying is I think gone are the days of the true pioneers where everyone knew who they were. I'm not saying there aren't pioneers now that are going to revolutionize something in the future of firearms. Someone somewhere is going to be the next guy that brings up something that changes the gun world. It might be 25 years from now. I don't know. Someone is going to revolutionize something in the gun world, but I just have a feeling that we won't know his name necessarily. It'll be a company.
What's the Altor guy's name? God dang.
That guy did change the firearms world, not for a good way, but he did change the firearms world.
I'm going to say something controversial because I can.
Absolutely.
A lot of companies, and we've seen it lately with Smith & Wesson, copy off of each other. It's not really hard. Just look at the SIG MCX and go take apart an ARAC and an MCX and tell me they're not the same gun. Because it's the same thing.
There's a lot that goes on. 100% that happens, that it's been going on for a long time, and it will continue to do that. And I think that we also have to recognize that a lot of these companies have these engineers, and whatever they design, if they're working for Smith & Wesson, all designs that they make while under contract with Smith & Wesson are Smith & Wesson designs. They can't take them to other companies. They're property of Smith & Wesson. There are probably people out there that are they're not part of Smith & Wesson and all that. They've got some really cool designs. Well, guess what happens to those designs? They get bought by the big companies. So once again, you're never really going to know who that original designer was. There might be someone from Smith & Wesson that sees this sketch and like, let's buy that. Well, they never hear, Trey Miller designed this thing. It's a Smith & Wesson design. Smith & Wesson came up with this design. So I don't know.
Now Ghost is trying to take claim for designing the MMP. I just heard him right there.
100%. I was just wish I was paid for it. Jacob says, I really want to see a 357 Magnum 1911.
They make that.
It's made. Mm-hmm. They're fun.
Yep.
So
they're pricey.
Yep.
Go ask your local gun shop if they can get yourself a Kunin, and you better have a couple grand at least to get one.
Now I want to see a 38 Super 92, but that's just me.
I don't want to see a 38 Super anything. There's
gold.
nothing about that cartridge that gets me excited. I have no love. I don't dislike it. It just doesn't do anything for me. To me, there is really no purpose for it. That's just me.
It served a purpose. You just don't remember what most people don't remember what the 38 Super served.
Wasn't that because Mexico you couldn't own 9mm?
No, what it was,
you couldn't own a government cartridge.
Back in the 30s, during bootlegging, the 45s were bouncing off the steel frame Fords, and so they came up with 38 Super because it was faster and it was actually penetrating the steel. That's the reason why 38 Super came. Yeah, that's why 38 Super came about. There's my history lessons for the day. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Kyle's alive. Kyle, I love Kyle. Kyle's a buddy of mine. He's a brother of mine. He's been on enough now. He should know that he's going to have to be a little more assertive in our conversations.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I get caught up in it and I just start soaking it in and then I'm just go ghost.
But you don't realize you're a part of the conversation. You're not just a viewer right now. You're actually part of the conversation here, dude.
So I'm totally okay if he's muted up and he's like drafting out the plans for the Anderson shotgun. Like I'm okay with that.
Okay. If you have the Pony Express design up, then he's okay with you being quiet.
Yeah. If you're working on that, that's cool. Go do that, Kyle.
If you really want to be popular on this show, Kyle, just come up with a creative name for veal. That's all I'm saying. You don't want me to repeat it, Ghost. I promise you.
I think I heard you right. Did I not? Did I hear you? And are you trying to bring up Chase's topic
Fourth
from a
trimester? Yes.
Damn you, man. Damn you. We're not going down that road. Thank God he's not here. We do wish some safe travels to Chase. He's down in parts unknown doing some business. Actually, they are known, but they're not public. But he's just doing some work and business. I'm assuming he'll probably jump into the after chat because he was going out to dinner tonight. So
he's down in Steven Seagal territory. You better watch out.
I wasn't going to say where he was, but yes, he is definitely. I want to see him and Seagal. I mean, we all know Chase, and Chase is a big boy, but so is Seagal. Like Seagal has let himself go. I would like to see Chase and Seagal get into it down there in Bossier City and just have a little fight. Wouldn't it? I think Chase can take him these days.
I think so. Seagal's looking rough.
Yeah, Seagal can is still got enough talent in him to, Now he's not going to catch you if you run from him, but if you get in close inside of him, he can probably still hurt you pretty good.
He might can. I don't think he's got much of an offensive game, and his defensive game is if you don't have a sword. I don't know how good his defensive game is. To be honest with you,
it's definitely much slower than it was 30 years ago. I guarantee
this is true. Yeah, for
sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, he's fast as time. He won't tell you that.
Huh? Oh no, he'll still tell you he can do it, man.
Right.
He still called himself a world champion, yeah, but that was literally like 40 years ago. Literally 40 years.
Once you're a world champion.
No, I understand.
So who wins today? Chuck Norris or Steven Seagal?
Norris.
Yep.
Norris. Isn't Norris dead?
No, he just looks like it.
He's working for Glock.
I know. As a joke, I was saying, but I'd still pick Norris. A dead Norris still takes Seagal. Now, today, Seagal or Van Damme?
Van Damme,
yeah.
You think so?
The kickboxer.
Something's wrong with Van Damme. Seagal.
You think Seagal? I don't know. I think Seagal, if he's still agile enough, a kickboxer, I'm telling you, bro, I've known some kickboxers. Kickboxers are bad boys, bro. If he's still able to do that, I think
I don't know that he is. That's the thing. I don't know that he is. Like Van Damme. Oh my God. Go look. I don't know, but go look him up, dude. He looks like he's got some kind of disease or
really.
I mean, he looks bad anyway from like botched Botox and crap,
True.
He's all frail. Look like he's
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
like Seagal just needs to lay off the biscuits and gravy. You know
Yeah,
what I
he
mean?
just
Like
blew
that's
up, yeah.
Seagal's thing. Like Van Damme looks like he's on death's door. So
Didn't
I
he,
hadn't seen him for a while.
didn't he just do a commercial where he's doing the splits between two trucks or something like that? You guys remember that? He looked good in that.
Yeah, but is that real or is that
That's
some type
probably
of
AI,
CGI, whatever
Yeah.
stuff? You know what I mean? With deep fake nowadays and everything.
Just ask G to ask his robot to make a picture of Steven Seagal dancing or something, and it'll happen.
Oh, Steven Seagal fighting Van Damme. That'd be
he could do that.
Yeah.
He'll email this to us shortly. I have faith in
The robot will have that answer for us in about 4 minutes. I guarantee we'll be receiving email or text from G here pretty soon. For sure. All right, we've been going pretty good. I want to give everybody a few minutes. Snob, start with you. Everyone on this panel will be at NRAM under different capacities, obviously. But Snob, until then, or like, what kind of projects you got going on? Any videos coming up that you want to talk about before NRAM?
I need to, but I don't know if it's going to happen because I have got so much to do in real life between now and NRAM. It's not even funny, especially if I'm going up a day early now.
True. G says, ethically, I would never ask the robot to do such a thing. He would not make the robot come down to those standards. Ginger, you got any organizations or anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm gonna give a shout out again to Southeastern Guide Dogs. Again, I've talked about this a couple times. There's an event going on
coming up, actually.
Yeah, May 20th at the Humidor in Newark, Ohio. There's going to be food, cigars, and we're getting money raised to get a dog to a veteran in need. So if anybody knows anybody who wants to attend, just go ahead and show up there. There is a door entrance fee. If you're big into cigars, Bobby Newman from JC Newman Cigars is going to be there. And I am also still looking for donations for the raffle table. So if anybody's interested, please let me know.
I could probably help you out with some stuff. Not like Ghost Tactical stuff, but like we'll talk off air for sure. Kyle, I want to bring you in for a minute and give you a few minutes. Talk Anderson Manufacturing. Exciting time for Anderson right now. A lot of cool stuff coming down the road. For people that might be attending NRAM next week, you want to kind of give your little spiel of where you guys, maybe a booth number or what you guys will have there for people that will be. I know there's a bunch of people in our chat that will be attending NRAMs. They might come by and see you. If you are there, make sure you go to Anderson Manufacturing's booth, say hi, tell them your screen name, tell them, hey, I know you're on Ghost Show and all that. Let them know that who you are, because he'll know, he'll remember the names. But do you want to talk maybe your booth number a little bit, or what you guys are going to have for people to see at NRAM?
Yeah, for sure. I don't have the booth number on me right now, but
actually, you're working. Yeah, he actually stopped working to come on this. They actually are really busy right now, so thank you for that. By the way,
hey, not a problem. But we're right near the entrance. I think we're right next to IWI, if I'm not mistaken.
Nice. Yeah.
We'll have the Surbot, which is our bolt action that's coming out soon. That'll be up there with us. Our Cerakote of the month will be on display. We're doing a giveaway with AAC, and Ghost, this might actually help you out. It's the AM10 chambered in 308 suppressor ready, and it comes with an AAC suppressor. But yeah, definitely check out our Cerakote series, AndersonManufacturing.com/Cerakote. Like I said, limited edition. Check it out before they're gone.
Yeah, go check out this month is the Palms. Go check out over on Instagram and all of that. He's got pictures. There's a short of it, I believe, over on YouTube, or is that a reel on Instagram? One of the two. I shared on my reels. I think I shared your reel on the Palms. So yeah, it's a pretty cool. It's an awesome looking freaking Cerakote. It's Miami Vice if you've ever seen it. So
yeah, they're real nice sets.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get Snob to get a picture with that rifle, and that will break the matrix.
I mean,
so.
I did one at SHOT Show with the Miami Nights pistol from Canik. So, I mean, your booth 5745 there, Kyle.
There you go.
There you go. Clover. I mean, assuming you are going to do something, you can tell people what this coming down the line.
Yeah, got a couple of podcasts scheduled for this week. The Honest Truth tomorrow and Cape Gunworks on Thursday. And then dropped a video earlier on the Hawk Advantage 1 to 4x24 LPVO. So that's what I've got going.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna have a couple of videos coming out. We'll have some videos scheduled for next Thursday and next Saturday as well for during NRAM. So I've already got a couple scheduled ahead of time, so that I know there'll be some content coming out. We'll talk about more about this next Tuesday, talking about NRAM coming up. But I want to go ahead and tell people now, during NRAM, I probably won't be going live or doing anything like that. If you want to follow the content during NRAM, and Snow, I'll let you and Clover as well, and then John and Kyle as well. But most of the content that I'm going to be having actually while in Indy is going to be on Instagram and through the community tab on my YouTube. Mostly going to be Instagram, doing some shorts, maybe with YouTube, but mostly doing pictures will be on Instagram. I'll be doing some reels and all of that, but the vast majority is going to be either shorts or pics on Instagram. So if you want to see some of the coverage from us, then definitely look on Instagram in the community tab. Clover, Snob, I know it's kind of a little early, but do y'all plan on doing a lot of Instagram stuff as well? Or how do you plan on kind of covering NRAM this year right away?
Me? Well, obviously, we've got videos we have to produce because we are
I'm talking about while at NRAM, like actually during the show.
Oh, well, that's what I'm saying. We've got to film some actual videos while we're there. But, probably shorts, probably do the same as SHOT, probably lean into the Instagram reels and the shorts and stuff.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I don't understand. What did I screw
No,
up?
what I'm saying is, I mean, obviously we have videos we're gonna create content while at NRAM. I'm saying while you're at, like, during the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, are you gonna be putting most of your stuff on Instagram? Are you planning on unleashing NRAM videos while at Indianapolis? Or do you do it afterwards?
No, definitely no long form.
I'm not smart, bro. You have to forgive me, bro.
Yeah,
like,
definitely
definitely
no long form. That cuts into the time. Yeah, so yeah, Chase is back there.
Oh snap!
It needs to.
Just kidding.
What a bitch.
Yeah. Real quick, I'll let you give a few minutes since you're just showing up. You've got a picture of the MC14T.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you either, but it's on your avatar. So
nah, not me.
Okay. So do you want to talk about the Glock 17 clone that you guys are coming out with?
Oh, you mean the new 28? Yeah, it's pretty cool. You talk about hitting the 380 at the right time.
Right?
This has been perfect.
Oh my God. But you want to talk a little bit about for people that will be in Indianapolis?
Yeah.
You guys will be, for the first time, publicly showing off the 14.
Correct. So we have a media event Friday at lunchtime to kind of kick it off. And then the entire NRAM show will have, I know I have 3 for sure, possibly more will be there. Depends on shipping and all that fun with freight right now. But I'll definitely have several models there for everybody to come try out. I mean, better finer points of the 84, 86 family, modernized, updated, double stack, mag, 13 rounds, tip up barrel, 1 in the chamber. It's super, super, super easy to function on this thing. Double single, trigger's really easy. The biggest thing is that tip up barrel. You mean the people who have trouble loading a gun All that stuff is contained in there. It's an easy gun for anybody to use. It's not targeted necessarily at old people or hand strength people issues or ladies. It's targeted at everybody. But the people that do have hand strength issues,
Clover,
perfect.
Yeah.
If you need pink wristbands or, if I could figure out, we were joking about it today, if we could figure out how to make it in 10 millimeter, it'd be just absolutely ridiculous. But I can promise you, in a direct blowback, you do not want to shoot that in 10 millimeter.
I just want to know how the optics going to work on this with the tip-up barrel. I just feel like this is going to create a problem.
So we've already been playing around with some optics
on the actual barrel. I bet you probably put it on top of that.
Actually, the rail underneath is like a mount that just comes up and over. So like a
like an old school competition mount.
Yeah, like an old Weaver style mount or something like that. Yeah. So you can run. I mean, it's a Picatinny. You run whatever red dot on there you want, or you could do we could do direct mount plates. So like any of the micro red dots.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
We played around with several ideas. The cool thing, y'all got to see some little tidbits of it, but we actually have like the actual made base plates now that actually hold the extra round. And so we've been banging those around and dropping them and throwing them and all that stuff.
So far, so good. Right.
The cool thing is, for the people who are not going to carry a gun loaded, we all know there's that demographic, people who are just scared to have one in the chamber or whatever. Now you don't have to slide, rack a slide anymore. You can literally pull your mag, drop the round in the barrel, throw your mag in there and go. And it's super intuitive, super easy. I let several people try it today during our road trip, try it out. And everybody had it figured out in literally a couple minutes. Nice.
That's always good because you guys know how it works. And for someone who's never worked it before, if it's a learning curve, it is what it is, but that's good. Good night, Duncan. Duncan said he's got to go. Time to shift gears to be functional tomorrow. I don't even try to be functional during the day, so that's what it is.
Man, I've been up all day. I just had a 4-hour ride across the state of Louisiana. Literally 5 minutes before I got on here, I walked into my hotel room.
Why'd you wait 5 minutes?
He had to pee.
Keep you waiting, man.
He had me some Dr. Peppers, and he had to pee.
I did.
He's from Alabama, remember?
I had entirely too many crawfish tonight. It was so good, though.
You're gonna feel that in about 2 hours from now. I'm just saying.
It's not that. It's the fact that now that I've washed my hands 8 times, it still smells like crawfish.
There's a joke in there somewhere. I'm just gonna let it go.
Stop's into that. Hush.
Hey.
I like crawfish. What can I say?
Yeah.
It's good. It smells.
Anybody else have anything last wisdoms? And Chase, keep your mouth shut. You do not get a chance to make any last parting wisdoms. Anybody else besides Chase have any last parting wisdoms?
Gaston Glock is dead, and their weekend at Birmingham. That is all.
If that is true, there will be a 1911 and an AR within the next 6 months hitting the market. Just saying.
Oh, those designs are already sitting in a vault.
They're there. They're there.
Let's go.
They're just waiting for the old man to go because he said no. But yeah, there will be a Glock 1911. There will be a Glock AR within 6 months. I mean, we're talking in production out to the public within 6 months of him dying, probably.
Oh yeah. So, I don't know if y'all talked about this earlier or not, but I don't know if you've seen the media rumblings of all the fun we're going to have with some people who don't like us at NRAM this year.
It's going to be last year played out.
Let's go.
It started up today pretty good. We were talking about it earlier, and there's because Mr. now indicted president is going to be the keynote speaker. Here we go.
I wonder if will he be wearing his county oranges? That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I think he should literally show up in county oranges
and totally own it.
Own it. Absolutely. I mean,
just
he'd be a
hero. OG
right?
on the back of it.
Like OG, go fuck yourself. Make the jails great again or something. I mean, let's just it matches his hair and his face. So I mean, you might as well own the orange.
The audience out there wants to chase his final thoughts to come back.
He will not give his final thoughts ever again. He is
scared of that.
Final, really.
Hey, Chase, do you like veal?
I do. I really enjoy veal. It's fantastic.
All right, you guys have a great week. We will see you next Tuesday. We'll see you soon. Semper Fi.